Hello and welcome to Jurassic Reviews. On this video, we will be taking a look at the Jurassic World Dino rivals Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex. This is Mattel's largest standard figure to date, standing right around 10.5 inches tall in its neutral pose. It is taller than both Mattel's Tyrannosaurus Rex and Spinosaurus. It is also 23 inches long from head to tail. Here's a quick look at the packaging. Here's the front of the box. And here's the back of the box. Here's the collector's card that it comes with. I believe these are the best stats I've seen on these cards. Doesn't really mean anything, but I thought it was cool. I feel that I really can't do this review without comparing it to Hasbro's Indominus Rex, so let's just get that out of the way real quick. Here they are next to each other. Right away, the increase in detail should be pretty apparent. I do like the Hasbro Indominus. It's perhaps the best of Hasbro's Jurassic World offerings, which isn't saying a lot, but as far as I'm concerned, this Mattel one beats it in every way. Besides the previously mentioned increased detail, the Mattel version can actually stand on its own, and in different positions. The Hasbro version is notorious for wanting to faceplant the moment you let go of it. In fact, with that one, the only way to really get it to stay standing is by tilting it so its head is looking upwards, which doesn't really look that great. Another thing is that there's no visible screw holes on the new Mattel version, which was a problem for many Hasbro Jurassic World figures. The quality of Mattel's figures, which I still don't feel is as good as Kenner's, has been miles above Hasbro's last effort. The Hasbro version does have painted fingernail and toenails, while a Mattel version only has painted toenails. The Mattel version still has a superior paint job. An area where they are about the same is that they both have short tails, but for me personally this is not an issue, especially on this newer sculpt. The Mattel version also has better action features and articulation, which I'll go into later. Now that we have that out of the way, let's take a look at the sculpt on the Mattel figure. It is much more accurate to the movie than Hasbro's, especially the head sculpt. It looks really close to its movie counterpart. The details like the scales and bumps around the back, and the little spike-like things along the top of its neck all look great. The middle section along its back is probably my favorite. Really like the spikes and scales here. Some areas, though, are better defined than others. The details under the neck and on parts of the tail can be a little soft compared to the other parts of the figure. This figure is made of just hard plastic, lacking anything rubber. The Hasbro one did feature rubber for its head, but it's not very high quality. With any amount of regular use, the rubber on those begins to rip and tear. The hard plastic seems pretty good on Mattel's Indominus, as it really doesn't feel that cheap. I think it'll hold up just fine. Moving to the paint application, it is mostly gray, with some brown paint in some areas like its back and around its eyes. The toenails are painted a brownish gray looking color, and like I previously mentioned, the fingernails are left unpainted. On its head, you'll find it has cool looking orange eyes with gray pupils. Its teeth are painted a sort of beige color, and the inside of the mouth is painted pink. It's a decent paint job, nothing too crazy though. The Indominus Rex isn't exactly the most colorful creature anyway, so this gets the job done. It would be nice if these figures would have had painted fingernails, but I can live with it. Moving on to the articulation and action features, this one has some pretty cool ones. There are two buttons on different places on its back that when pressed activates a different action. The one closest to the tail is the main action, which causes the mouth to open and it to let out a roar. There's 3 different roars that it has, and on the third one its neck lights up. The idea here is that you can put a human figure or small dinosaur in its mouth and see them through the neck when it's lit up. It's a pretty cool feature, and a straight upgrade over the Hasbro version, which just roared and lit up. There was no devouring part to it. The other button moves the arms. These arms still have a good amount of movement despite being part of the action feature. When the button is pressed, the arms move inwards like the figure is trying to grab or pick something up, and it makes noise. This feature works regardless of how you position the arms beforehand, which is nice. Other points of articulation include the head, which you have to physically push down. It's not tied to an action feature, but it does allow for some cool motion if you have another figure in its mouth. Its legs are similar to the other large dinosaurs by Mattel. They can be moved into different positions, but they sort of snap into place. It's not a smooth motion. I'm fine with this because it most likely won't ever have any problem standing in the future. The only other point of articulation is in the feet, which can be turned in different directions. Though I don't think it's really a good thing to do, as they look awkward when no longer aligned in its default pose. These feet, like many other Mattel figures, are on the larger side. This was most likely done to help keep the figure standing upright. So it doesn't have a ton of articulation, but the neat action features make up for it. Some movement in the tail or even in the wrists would have been cool, but what's there is fine. Before I give my rating for this figure, here's a quick comparison with other figures. Here it is with a Kenner 4-inch human and a Mattel 3 3/4 scale human. Here it is with a Velociraptor. Here it is with the Ceratosaurus. Here it is with the Indoraptor. And finally, here it is with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. For a rating out of 10, I give the Indominus Rex a 9. This is my favorite large carnivore by Mattel so far, and a huge improvement over Hasbro's version. The paint applications are good, and the action features are great. It would have been nice if there was a bit more articulation, and maybe a slightly longer tail, but I feel like those are just minor nitpicks. It's another solid figure in Mattel's line, and an early candidate for my favorite Jurassic figure of the year. I recommend picking this one up. It's awesome. And that does it for my review of Mattel's Dino Rivals, Devour and Destroy Indominus Rex. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.